Now the other day when I was scrolling, I saw a few videos that sort of intrigued me, and they all kind of went over the exact same thing, but they was doing it in different ways, as some of them were doing it for real life people and the others were just for fictional characters. And if you're wondering what it was finding something good about every evil person. And so I was sitting there thinking, how could I do something like this? And I sat there and was like, wait, hold on, there's something I can easily do. I can just do the reverse of it. And so yes, that's how we have this video. Yeah, in today's video I'm going to be finding something bad about every good fictional character, or just hero in general. So strap in, because I'm going to get real in depth with this video. Before I do jump into the video, if you guys enjoy content like this, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe, as I do post content like this regularly, and to be honest, it's a win-win. You guys show me love and support, and I give you back to you in the form of videos. Whether it's finding bad things about good people, just random anime, or fiction in general, in due time I plan on covering it, so be there when I go there. But I feel like I've rambled on long enough, so when I jump straight into the video and find something bad about good characters. Now to begin the video, I think I'm gonna quickly just go over what I mean by something bad. It could be an action they did, or just a personality trait that they do have that is kind of bad in nature. And so with that being said, when I start off with the first person, and that's going to be Deku. Now, as somebody that has read My Hero multiple times and watched it multiple times, I can tell you that Deku doesn't really have any bad things, nor does he do anything bad. I really tried to just look and see if he did anything bad. But there is one thing that he did do that was it was pretty out of pocket, I can't lie. One time is where he was racist to Piccolo. Yo, listen, this was the only thing that I could find on this guy that was technically bad. Now this is him just being outright just like out of pocket. Now there is something else that he does do inside the series, and that is quite literally him abandoning his friends to go save the world. I mean, I know that isn't technically bad, but the fact that he even put his friends down and was like, yeah, you guys can't really do much, I'm just gonna like go out there and do it myself, you can technically say that's a bad thing. But aside from that, and there is that one time that he did talk to Shigaraki and did give him conviction. Yeah, that wasn't too good from him. For the most part, he's a goody two shoes. So why don't we move into the next person, and that's Mark. Now Mark is a massive can of worms, but the easiest one that we can all look towards is his multiverse, as his multiverse literally shows us that if one thing went wrong, or just not even one thing, if Mark's mental fortitude in the main timeline wasn't as strong as it is, he could have become a villain very easily. So that means yes, even though for the first couple of seasons Mark does seem pretty chill, he does actually have some sort of dark tendencies in him that can be brought out if he's pushed to that point, and well, his multiverse does exist, so yeah, he can be pushed to that point. He's also pretty selfish and a massive hypocrite, and those are bad things. Obviously nobody wants to be so, well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's a natural thing to be selfish and a bit of a hypocrite, but those are technically bad things. So yeah, and those are things that he does portray on a consistent basis. So yeah, that's pretty much it from Mark, allowing us to move into our next person, and that's Spider-Man. Now as Spider-Man has been going on for many years, Peter is bound to have many moments where he is doing something bad or showing some bad tendencies. But I really want to bring one up so we can shine a light on this. Yeah, let's just say that he was talking to an underage dagger and putting him in the category of Epstein and Diddy. What's so funny about this is the fact that a lot of people didn't actually know this happened until Marvel Rivals came out, and that's why I was like, a lot of people don't know that Spider-Man has done a lot of shady stuff, although I'm going to blame it to the weird writers, because you know how writers be. But let's actually dig a little bit deeper into this. He doctored some photos of James Jonah Jameson so he can get the boot. I mean, he was telling the truth, but I mean, he wasn't doing it ethically. And then on top of that, he then wore the black suit after obviously Aunt May was then put in hospital. And I mean, to be honest, I do get that, but that does mean that obviously he's willing to do anything, and You know, it comes along with anything, it means that it does come along with a little bit of bad. And obviously, while he was doing that, he beat the living hell out of Kingpin and was like, listen, if you try that again, I'ma come back and I'ma deal with you for real. So yeah, that is a little bit of bad that's in Spider-Man. Obviously, there are a lot of other things that we can go over. Why don't we move into the next character, and that's Goku. Now yes, to ride the flying Nimbus, you do need to be pure of heart, but I mean, some of his actions, they don't portray that. For instance, slapping panties. Was that really bad that's in Goku? That's just him being naive. But then again, him telling Gohan to go out there and fight Cell, not really thinking of Gohan's feelings, would you say that's bad? I said that's a bad action, but I wouldn't say that's him being innately bad. As moving past that point, Goku has actually been willing to be chill on his son and knows that his son doesn't really like fighting that much, so he'll take the weight of that off of his shoulders. So I would say it's a bad action, but thoughts and intentions definitely weren't malicious. And then you then have him risking the whole entire multiverse just so he could swap hands, and this is where I'd say he's tripping a little bit, because I don't think there's any sort of like, oh no, but he then saved the multiverse, because then it was gonna know. He did not know that. He just did that because he wanted to swap hands with people. There is no ifs, ands, buts, or whys. Now once again, I would say that it's more his actions being bad than him as a person being bad. As stated before, to ride on the flying Nimbus, you need to be pure of heart. So he isn't actually a bad person. It's just some of his actions just don't like, they don't really like, he doesn't process them. He just does it and he's like, oh wait, there are bad consequences. My bad. So with that being said, I want to move into the next character, and that's Dante. Now despite his outward portrayal, Dante doesn't actually do anything that's kind of bad. Everything Dante does is for the greater good, and so he doesn't really do anything that's bad. The only little blemish he does have is him being hellbent on revenge very early on, as obviously with him and Virgil and everything going on between those two, that does kind of throw him off a little bit, and you can say he does have a little grey area because of that. But aside from that, Dante is pretty good. But that may shock a lot of people, but yeah, even though he's half demon, he doesn't really do anything that's bad. I mean, he follows his father's principles. Obviously he has killed a few humans, but they were humans that were turning into demons or trying to turn into demons, and they were just doing bad things overall, so it wasn't really bad. Dante is pretty clear. I mean, Virgil on the other hand, people want to act like Virgil's clean. He's not. But with that being said, I feel like we should move to the next character, and that's Batman. Now for the most part, Batman is clean. Just like Spider-Man, I mean, the way they're meant to be portrayed is clean, but I mean, he's done some stuff throughout the years. Even back in the day, the first thing that he was doing was, he was mistreating Robin, like, let's not lie. I mean, one of the most popular memes ever comes from him just pimp slapping Robin. Like, I just don't, he's just not like, okay, listen. Back in the day, he was not a good person. And although he's done many weird things throughout history, like, I mean, I can't lie, I know this isn't technically bad, but with him sleeping with Barbara Gordon in that one timeline, to me, that's a bit of a blemish on him. And he's done several other things that are a bit odd. Another thing we do need to add in is his way of justice, and that's through vengeance, and he does like to spread fear. Him obviously wanting to spread fear is a bad thing that he is doing, and due to it being fear and vengeance, even though the result is good, obviously him doing it and the way he thinks is a little bit bad, even though it does result in good. So yeah, that's another thing we do need to add on. And then on top of that, he is a failsafe for basically everybody he meets. Now you may be thinking, why is this bad? Well, he's planning to kill or just take out people on a daily basis. The guy, like, listen, Batman, yes, fundamentally he should be a good person, but like, when you really look into it, I mean, technically he's just not. So yeah, everything with Batman is like a double-edged sword. Yes, on one end the result may be good, but technically the thought and just the concept behind it is technically bad. So yeah, here's a few points here, allowing us to move into the next person, and that's Huey. Now, even though Huey is portrayed to be more righteous than Riley, if you want to say that, I'm not gonna lie, he is kind of cynical at times. Like, remember that one time when he was like, yeah, Riley, you're gay, just so he can get his own room? Listen, Huey's every time I remember that episode, I don't know what Huey was on. Yes, as an overall person, Huey is good, but like, let's be real here. Huey does have a few moments where he is a little bit bad, and if Riley was on this list, well, we could list out a bunch of things for Riley, but Huey is, let's just say he does have a few extreme takes on top of that, and with him basically gaslighting his brother into thinking he was gay. Yo, Huey, you also have him just allowing Riley to do other dumb stuff. Like, remember that one time where Riley tried to start his own business and then went tits up, and Huey in the beginning of the episode was like, I mean, it's gonna mess up, but I'm gonna let you do your own thing. I mean, if Huey was really a really good person, he would have stepped in and said, no, stop this now, like, we're not doing this. But he was like, yeah, no, you can go do it, I don't really care. So he definitely has some bad in him. But with that being said, I feel like I've covered everything I need to cover about Huey. So why don't we move to the next person, and that's King Von. Now, in contrast to popular belief, King Von is actually somebody that likes to spread a lot of love. As you can see in the video in the background, all Von really does is spread love. He doesn't spread any hate or war, so I mean, there's nothing I can really say that's bad to blemish his name. There are rumors out there of him apparently, getting rid of some people, but I don't think that is true. Couldn't be true, right? It's not like he doesn't say it in his raps or anything. He doesn't do that. Raps are fake anyway, they're just stories. So I mean, King Von is probably the cleanest person on this list, behind Deku, probably in front of Deku actually, because I don't think he would do anything to his friends that like abandoning them. So yeah, no, King Von is just somebody who likes to spread love, not war. Definitely doesn't like to use guns or anything. Definitely hasn't been in court or anything. He's just, yeah, no, he's just he's a clean person, let's just say that. So moving on from the angel from heaven, King Von, we're gonna move into Sonic, and hey, let's just say Sonic, he has a few iterations that makes him Sonic isn't clean, yo. Now, as Tails is my favorite character, I have to bring this up every single time that I talk about Sonic, and Sonic in a few iterations has actually just like straight up bullied, neglected. I've done a few things to Tails, like this one panel you're seeing on screen. I don't know why the writers decided to do this, but yeah, they just decided to make Tails his little bitch, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the happiest when reading this. And it doesn't stop there, as Sonic even gaslighted / manipulated Shadow. Sonic, like, I'm being so real with everybody. Even though Sonic has like this really good portrayal, he, like, if you've read, watched, or just done anything or played the games, you know that there are a few times where obviously Sonic is a good person like 99.9% of the time, but there's like a 0.01% where he can actually be like, he is probably one of the snarkiest guys you'll ever meet, and like he can really turn it up a notch. And so moving on from Sonic, we're gonna move into Mordecai. And yeah, we already know what Mordecai be on, but I want to explain it a little bit. Now, as the regular show is extremely long and I am definitely overdue for a rewatch, I'm gonna go off of the top of my head, and I do remember where he'll be doing stuff with Rigby and they'll be getting Pops mad for no reason, and they'll even gaslight or even just rage bait him. These two are like prime dickheads. But like, let's not even get into Mordecai killing Rigby, and then Muscle Man's wedding speech, and on top of that, taking Rigby's bed, forcing him to sleep on a trampoline while Mordecai is up there sleeping with two beds. Listen, Mordecai, like, we all knew that he was a bit of a dickhead, and like when you were growing up, you were like, ah, he's funny, but when you actually like sit back, you're like, he wasn't a good person. One thing I will say though for Mordecai is that he is actually a top tier rage baiter, but with that being said, he definitely does have some bad in him, and even though he is a good person overall and does have good intentions 95% of the time, he can be a dickhead for the 5%, and when he is one, it's pretty bad, even to his best and closest of friends. And so, with that being said, with Mordecai, I'm gonna go over a few characters just off the top of my dome that I really wanted to cover for this video. And the first person I want to cover is Yusuke Urameshi. He was quite literally a delinquent. What else is there for me to say? A delinquent is a bad person. Although yes, now he is good, he is technically, well, was a bad person, and those tendencies are still there, even though they're little, they're still there. So yeah. And so the next character I'm going to cover is going to be Mao Mao. And I will say this before I do get into her, I do want to make content on her, but I have to think on what I'm going to make. But still, Mao Mao. Mao Mao is a good person, fundamentally, but she does have some bad tendencies, like being selfish and just doing basically anything just so she can get her research in, and just anything she finds interesting. Yeah, Mao Mao is somebody that is extremely selfish and caters to herself 90% of the time. But even though that's a bad trait that she shouldn't have, I find it interesting. It does make the show extremely interesting. So yeah, moving on, we're gonna dive into One Piece, and we're gonna go over Luffy. Now, Luffy is very much a mixed bag, as he does do a lot of things throughout the story, and obviously he is a pirate. And to say Luffy doesn't do any bad is kind of insane, as he is a pirate, meaning he does take down marines, even innocent marine soldiers that are coming after him. So even if the thought behind it isn't bad, yes, he is doing something bad. So then the main question becomes, is Luffy fundamentally bad, or is just the actions that he does bad? Whoa, Luffy can be selfish and he does do dumb stuff throughout the story, but I wouldn't say that he is inherently bad, but you could say there's a little bit of bad in him. The bad in Luffy is just his selfishness, but that is a natural trait that everybody has, so it's not that bad, unlike some other characters that have been on the list. You could definitely say the worst thing Luffy did do was free a bunch of people from Impel Down, which, now that you do think about it, it is pretty bad. Very bad, actually. They were level 6 and he let them out. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty bad. Just to save his brother, that, yeah, that's how far his selfishness goes. He doesn't think about the consequences. He only just acts and then just lets the consequences happen. With that being said, why don't we move on to our last character, and that is Yuji Itadori. And despite everything he's gone through, Yuji is surprisingly a good person and hasn't done anything bad throughout the story. This means, just like Deku and Goku, he doesn't do anything that's bad. Although you can say that, well, Sukuna taking over his body and him losing a fight to Sukuna instantly could be him doing bad things, but it wasn't really his fault. So yeah, no, Yuji hasn't done anything bad. So yeah, that's the end of the honorable mentions. So I feel like that's everything I need to say, so I wrap up the video. And so yeah, a few of these guys do have some bad in them, while others just do bad things without actually thinking it out, while others just have a clean slate. And so yeah, that's really about it. If you want part 2 to this video, drop it in the comment section below. I'll do side characters next, or popular side characters. And so yeah, with that being said, I love you all. I shall see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.